Well, Scott's away, so the mice will play. Today we've got a dog-tastic episode of The Grid, and it all starts in a few seconds.
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Well, hey, everybody, look at that jib work. I'll tell you what, that's some of Dobson's best work right there. And you know what it is? It's because Scott isn't here.
That's right.
That's why.
It's
but
smooth.
hey, look we've got Kaylee and Sam joining us here today on The Grid.
Hello, Kelby One community. I am so honored and so excited to be here. This is what's wild, Erik. Every single week when I'm editing dog photos, now it's editing dog photos in an RV because I've moved my life into an RV. But regardless, I'm listening to you and Scott. I'm listening to The Grid every week, and now here I am.
Here you are. But Scott's not here.
And you know she's going to listen to herself, too.
Well, you know, that happens.
Do you ever listen to yourself? Do you ever rewatch, re-listen?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
How do you feel about your performance?
Not my favorite thing to do, but I do. Yeah, it's fine.
I love it.
Most of the time it's like I've already heard this before.
Yeah.
I've heard this guy talk before about this. It kind of gets a little boring. Of course, I can be boring. Anyways, we are going to be talking to them about a project that they're doing. For the first half of the show. But before we get to that, I always have to get out all the business stuff because unfortunately we have a business here and there's a podcast and we have sponsors and blah, blah, blah. So we have to do all that stuff. So first, we're going to be giving away a bunch of prizes today because we love to give away prizes on The Grid. To enter these prizes, all you got to do is leave us a comment. No matter where you're watching the show, just leave us a comment. Tell us what you'd like to win. We're going to pick a winner at the end of the show. First thing, Scott's Crush the Composition book. So right here, this book. Cool thing is, spilled the water.
Oh, it was exciting.
Cool thing is, that book is actually in print now. So somebody's going to get the print version of that book. So that's really exciting because we've had to be giving away the ebook version. But speaking of an ebook version, we're going to be giving away a copy of Kaylee's book, Dogtography, right? Not dog photography, Dogtography.
Dogtography and knock your socks off.
Yes.
That's capturing the best dog photos on earth.
Yep.
You can't forget the subtitle.
Dogtography, trademark. Yeah, so we're going to be giving a copy on that. If you're looking to figure out how to take the best dog photography photos on Earth, that's the book you want. It's basically the Bible for dogtographers. There you go. And we're going to be giving away a copy of On One's No Noise 2024. This is an awesome plugin for just removing noise out of your photo. It's so cool how we can shoot at these high ISOs, but we still have some noise. What's great about that plugin is it removes the noise, but then gets back that sharpening you lose with high ISO, so you're getting back that sharpening. So we're also giving away a V-Flat from V-Flat World. Now, this is for U.S. shipping only, so you just got to have a U.S. shipping address. I guess you could live overseas and then have somebody in the U.S. have a shipping address. They'd have to ship it there, and then have to ship it to you. But at that point, you might as well probably buy it. Everybody can get, though, 10% off there. Use the code KELBY10 at checkout, and they'll get 10% off. And then Retouch for Me is giving away their Heal app. This is a really interesting Photoshop plugin where it does AI-based masking and basically retouching of your photo, but then it gives you an editable layer, so you can edit the actual layer that AI created, which is really cool because then you have that ability to kind of put your own touches on it. However, I will say, you push the button and you get it done, it looks pretty good. So I don't know how much editing you really need with it anyways. But everybody can get 20% off. You just got to use that code KELBY120 at checkout. You just got to go to this address, promo.retouch4.me, get that 20%. And then finally, SlickPick is giving away 1 year of their classic gallery plan. Everybody can win, though, over there at SlickPick as well. They just got to go to slickpick.com/KELBY1, and you can get a nice little discount. So there we go. That's the business stuff.
That was a beautiful, seamless job.
Yeah, so that's the business stuff. So now on to the fun stuff.
Hey.
So what have you guys been up to? I've heard you are living in an RV. I love RVs.
I know this.
In case you didn't know.
You know all about the RV life.
I do know the RV
all about
life.
the living in 180 square feet. And
Yes, I
trying to
do.
make life happen.
I do the gray tank, the black tank.
You know.
Ooh, the black tank.
You gotta do the black tank flush from time to time.
Got to do the flush. You got to put the additive in sometimes. You know.
Yep.
Got to do some engine maintenance every once in a while. You know, leveling and all that good stuff.
I know all the stuff.
Oh,
It's been a wild ride. It's been crazy times.
Yeah.
Sam,
Yeah.
you want to give us a little insight into what we've been up to?
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as the RV goes, we went from never driving an RV to immediately driving it 10,000 miles across the country.
But you know what's interesting about that is I know what style RV you're driving, and to go from never driving to that's a big jump.
Yeah, honestly, it's wild to me that they don't require like a special license.
Yeah.
So, or like
you
at least
should
a
have
training.
like because I remember I used to have to drive. We drive kids around at church and stuff. I had to have a CDL license, right?
Oh wow!
And
okay.
you know, like a commercial driver's
Yeah,
license, right?
For sure.
And you know, you drive an RV around, you're like, it's basically the same as what you needed for a CDL, but you don't need any of that. You just got to have a driver's license. It's really crazy.
We've got a 35-foot Class A RV towing a Jeep, so we're about 50 feet long or so.
Ooh, I'm only 6 feet long, so I have 38, and then the Jeep, so I'm 56.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Do
so
you
pretty
have a
close.
Class A?
Class A as well.
What type? What like brand or what are we doing
Tiffin.
here? Oh, they're so beautiful.
Yes,
Those are the beautiful babies.
love a Tiffin.
One day we'll upgrade, we'll get there, but we're right now we're in a
Love the
nice little base forest river, but it does the job.
Hey,
It's
they're
good.
all great.
It's
They're
a
all
good like
great.
entry level
Yes,
sort of
yes.
thing. But yeah, so basically the reason we're living in an RV is for the past 3 months, we started a nonprofit called the Dog Breath Foundation. So if you know me, you know that my business is called Dog Breath Photography. And so after, the past 13 years of photographing dogs professionally for, commercial clients and private clients, teaching workshops, speaking at conferences, all this stuff, I feel so grateful to get to do. I love it so much.
And that's maybe the first part of that is so people understand that don't know you.
Yeah.
That's what you do full time. You're a dog photographer.
Yes,
right?
exactly. I'm a professional dog photographer. I don't photograph anything else really.
Yeah.
Maybe the occasional cat, maybe a once a year cat. But for the most part, it's dogs.
Yes.
With that said, it's been an amazing ride. But I kind of had to check in with myself about 2 years ago probably, and I said what was I put on this earth to do? And for me, it's to use the incredible power of a camera to tell the stories of animals that have no way to speak for themselves. It's shelter dogs. It's dogs that sit and wait in these shelters and rescues all over America, all over the world. But there's millions of homeless animals in America, and how can we use the power of photography and videography and storytelling to kind of give them a voice, to rewrite the ending to their stories. So I thought, what if I toured the United States? I lived in an RV. I moved this incredible team, with me across the country, and we could go to these shelters that really are in need. They really need help with their websites, with their media. They don't have any photos of the dogs at all, or they have ones that are just people are trying, but
because that's the gift we have as photographers, videographers. We have that gift of being able to tell a story.
Exactly.
Kind of goes back to your first thing you were talking about is, I think where you're going is you're finding that purpose, but that really is the purpose as a photographer. Is not to just capture pictures. It's to tell a story through still pictures that connects people, no matter what it is. Dogs, cars, people. I don't care what it is, an event you're having to capture, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's where you're using this gift and then using it in a way to kind of tell that story so people connect with these dogs to hopefully adopt them.
Exactly. That's the idea. So the project is called The Greatest Adventure. And The Greatest Adventure has 3 meanings, and I'll try to kind of run through them pretty quickly. But The Greatest Adventure, first and foremost, is myself and my team traveling across the United States in this fleet of RVs on the greatest adventure, and kind of documenting all of that along the way in a YouTube series. And then the second meaning of the greatest adventure is taking a dog from a given shelter who's been there for a long time, let's say a year or more, out of his cage and into the world on his greatest adventure. So let's take him hiking a mountain, running through a field of wildflowers, swimming in a river, this type of thing, riding a train, these cool things, and then let's photograph him, and then kind of film it and shoot him out there to the world to hear his story, because the third and final meaning and the true meaning of the greatest adventure is going home, is him finding a home, is him finally finding that forever family and that love that this dog so deserves.
Yep.
So that kind of came to me one day in the bathtub. And I thought, oh, it really smacked me in the face. And I said, this is what I was put on this earth to do. I know it. And so if I could take a year like off of the private clients and the commercial clients and all the work that I typically have on my plate just to focus on shelter dogs, like that's what I was put here to do. So that's the greatest adventure. And we've been on it. We've put just shy of 10,000 miles under our tires since August. We started in New Hampshire. We went across the north of the U.S. to Montana, to Glacier National Park.
That's a pretty good clip.
It was like 6 days, like nonstop. And then from Glacier National Park out to the Oregon coast, out to like Astoria, Cannon Beach. And we did dogs, we took dogs out of the shelters in those places. And then we went down to Lake Tahoe, down to Moab, Utah. I know you love it out there. Utah. To Breckenridge, Colorado, across to Arkansas, and eventually to Florida, where we are now. But yeah.
So you've been doing this about, 4 months in?
Yeah, it's been just shy of 4 months now.
Yeah, and we're on a little hiatus for the holiday season, and then we're going to hit the road again early next year, and we're going to do another 3 months or so.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're kind of going to take off. You're not going to go up north during that winter time in those RVs,
No,
right?
probably not. We're storing them here. It feels
you don't
like
want
the
to
right
have to
thing
try
to
to have to deal with that. That's always a pain.
No.
The RV life.
Yeah, exactly. But
at least you don't have to winterize if you're down here.
Well, exactly. I have to put in that fuel stabilizer stuff though. I don't know. I have to ask you about it. I'm not really sure what to do. Do I just put it in? I have questions.
I think the note says talk more about liquids for RVs.
Okay.
Yes, we definitely.
Let me just say one last part of the project, which is very cool, and I have to do a massive shout out to Canon, who's a big sponsor of the project, who is basically sponsoring the fact that I'm able to give a really in-depth 2-hour-long workshop before we leave each shelter location to the shelter staff and volunteers, teaching them how to take really great, amazing, and effective photos of their adoptable dogs to help increase adoption rates.
That's
and then
awesome.
Canon is donating a camera kit to them. So, a lot of these shelters, they may not have the resources to be able to afford a beautiful camera that can do, just make incredible, still imagery. So they're donating a camera and a lens to these shelters who might otherwise not have the ability to have that. And so then they can take, the idea of the greatest adventure and run with it and hopefully affect hundreds,
you don't realize,
if not thousands more.
Well, it's just think about it like real estate photography, right? You're going to buy a home, right? If the home pictures are awesome, you're just more connected with it, right?
Absolutely. At least you'll go see it, right?
Exactly.
You'll start to go put it on
and
your
that's
list.
one of the things, and it's funny because this summer, this actually came up with my wife and I. We were doing our adventure, and we were in Utah. We were outside Kanab, and there's a big shelter there.
Best friends.
Exactly.
Huge,
And, if you look at it, they do a pretty good job about capturing photos, but I always think that, oh man, if we could just do a little bit better, like we do in real estate, it would help. So it's amazing that you're getting to do that, getting to pass that knowledge along to other people. But then that Canon was willing to, kind of partner with that. Now, when you say sponsoring, who at with a Canon, who did you have to sell on this idea of hey, we're gonna go? Because usually with these big camera manufacturers, they're like, hey, look, I got to know how many people are going to get in front of and all this stuff. This is more of a passion project or a personal project. How did that come about?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay, so I feel so lucky to have an ongoing relationship with Canon. I think I taught a workshop for them in New York City with B&H and Canon years ago, in 2011, 12?
12, I think.
And ever since then, I've had a good relationship, and I see them, at all the conferences, and I spoke for them at WPPI, and so I kind of had this connection, and so I just kind of talked to my, person that I love from there, and I said what do you think are even the chances of me being able to get this idea in front of the idea,
No, I love that. I love that a company decided to do that, to
Isn't
partner
that
with you.
beautiful? I mean, that they care about, they believe in the mission. They totally got it right away.
Yeah, because usually it always gets down to the metrics.
Well, for sure. It's how much money
it's
are we going to make up
forget that. It's we're just trying to help people, help dogs, help, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
I mean,
cool.
for sure, I have assets I need to deliver to them as part of my part of the deal. So giving them the photos so they can use those to promote what their cameras are capable of, and the fact that the storytelling that their cameras are kind of doing is making a huge difference. So in a way, it's probably great marketing.
Well, it is great marketing, and it's also probably, given that I do Me personally, I use all the different types of cameras.
Yeah.
I do think Canon is the easiest to use.
Yeah, I think if you're giving a camera to a person who has no knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like their menu system makes sense. All the stuff makes sense. That's where, to me, it's like if you're starting out in photography, it just, for me, Canon tends to make the most sense.
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't mean any of the others can't take great photos. They all take great photos. In fact, your iPhone takes incredible photos,
truly,
and you could probably take incredible photos with that. But I think that's what it comes down to, is it's more about teaching these shelters like what makes those impactful, great photos. So what do you find that people, like, when you go out to meet these groups, what are they struggling with the most to really like make great photos?
I think like light is the biggest one. Like when your average person doesn't really have knowledge of just what is good light, like how do you make a legible looking photo? So even just teaching them, like, listen, I know you're at a shelter, it may not be the most beautiful place in the world, but how about we go into like the shade of just the side of the building, and you just find like a swath of green grass, and you get maybe over top, and you get the puppy eyes looking up at you, and you get this beautiful eyes in focus shot that kind of slams people in the heart. And that's simple. You can do it right on the shelter grounds.
And
so
they're working within the confines of like the shelter's only open from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and they have to make something in that time. They can't come back at sunset. They can't come back at sunrise.
Right.
So kind of teaching them, all right, what can you do during this time?
Yeah, what techniques can you do?
Yeah.
Like you were talking about, like working in the shade or working, with diffuse light,
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because that would be the thing is well, and again, this is a universal principle. I hope that's what you guys are getting out of it. I mean, you could definitely, the same principle applies to anything you're shooting.
Definitely.
That when you're faced with that challenge of, I have to deal with this. That's why it was interesting your answer to that question. Your answer to that question wasn't, they have the wrong lens or they have the wrong camera. It's more about the lighting.
100%.
And I think the lighting is a big thing.
Yeah.
With photography.
Absolutely.
In fact,
it's just
photography, what is it? Like Joe McNally is like, the light is the language of photography. That is like, that is, if you want your photography to get better at lighting.
100%.
Even if it's not controlled lighting, like flash or something like that, just get better understanding and studying lighting and how lighting affects your shot, and that will make better photos right there.
Yeah, honestly, even in the workshops that I give, I say, listen, if you feel intimidated by this camera, like leave it to another volunteer to learn that. If you want to do this with your iPhone, everything I'm going to tell you today, everything applies to your iPhone.
Yeah,
as well.
It's a mirrorless camera.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's got a sensor, it's got a lens, it's got an electronic viewfinder. It's a mirrorless camera. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But again, the iPhone or the Canon will take the same shot. In better lighting, it'll be better. In worse lighting, it'll be worse.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
100%. Exactly.
So very interesting. Very interesting.
Truly.
So, how's it been going? Like, how's the success going with this?
Everything's been really magical and amazing. I just can't ignore the fact that Christina's going to sign up, so she's ready for a break. So,
well, no, you got to understand, she's always going to be ready.
Always
she will always be ready for a break.
I feel so much immense pressure.
She's always going to be telling me to take a break.
But she put a smiley face at the end of it, so I feel like it's friendly. It's friendly. It's like, just when you're ready, just calm down. Everybody calm down. We have an awesome video.
I usually see it. Now, if Scott was here.
It's yellow.
We'd have to make, well, she starts making it bigger.
Oh, I see, okay.
If it gets to the whole screen, we're in real trouble.
That's too
funny. We're in real trouble.
I have a video I'd love to show. It's 2 minutes long about the project, but maybe we can show it after the break? Does that work?
Yeah.
Or should we do it now?
Well, we can show it. We'll show it when we come back from the break.
Okay.
But maybe we'll take a break so Christina can take that note down. And then we'll come back and show the video. And then we'll talk about how it's going.
Yeah, that's great. Love it.
You know what? I absolutely cannot wait to go to Japan.
And what's crazy is Larry didn't really care about going to Japan.
I thought it would be
a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, but
he was kind of ambivalent about it.
Blown away.
But you know what? Larry and I just did a class where I am basically showing Larry why he needs to go to Tokyo. It's part of a series of classes that I've done. It's called A Photographer's Guide to Tokyo. There's so much to do. There's so much to see. It's such a photogenic place. And that's what we talked about in this class. I show you exact locations, where to go. I give you the address. I show you sample pictures. I give you tips. I talk about all those things that you would want to know. If a friend said, you're going to Tokyo? here's where you gotta go. I got it all in here. It is packed. You're gonna love it. Come with me on this journey. It's Photographer's First Guide to Tokyo, and it's exclusively here at kelby1.com.
Master the art of wildlife photography. Join us at the 2-day Wildlife Photography Conference by Kelby One. Over 20 inspiring sessions. Learn from world-renowned wildlife photographers, underwater techniques, wildlife portraits, bird photography, macro photography, best camera settings, editing tips and photography ethics. Capture the wild. Your best wildlife photos are just one conference away.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
I'm leaving everything behind, saying goodbye to my home, my friends, and my life as I know it. All to chase one big dream. I'm Kaylee Greer. I began my photography career as a shelter volunteer, taking photos to help adoptable dogs find their forever homes. Over the past 12 years, I've built up my business, traveled around the world photographing dogs, shot for huge commercial brands, and taught sold-out workshops. But after all that time, my dream of helping shelter dogs through the power of photography, the dream that started everything, has only grown bigger. So this year, I'm taking action. I've assembled a team of talented dreamers, and together, we're going on the greatest adventure. This summer, we're traveling to shelters across the United States, seeking out dogs in need of their own greatest adventure, taking them out of their cages and into the world to create incredible imagery that captures their true spirit. We'll give a voice to the voiceless through show-stopping imagery, tell their stories with breathtaking video, and find out from people all around the country what the love of a shelter dog can truly mean. As we travel, we'll leave each shelter better than we found it by providing their staff and volunteers with the education and equipment needed to continue to capture amazing imagery of their adoptable dogs. We're looking for individuals, brands, and organizations that share this very big dream. If you've known the unconditional love of an adopted dog, come with us. Because the greatest adventure isn't about us. The greatest adventure isn't just a cross-country road trip or watching the sunset from a mountaintop. For shelter dogs everywhere, the true greatest adventure is going home.
Oh, I don't know. That was a great video. The jib work, A little shaky.
I'm fine with the jib work. I feel I accept you. I think it's a beautiful job.
He's doing a great job.
I'm comfortable with it.
But so, anyways, that was a cool video of what you guys have been doing.
Yeah, so that's the kind of the quick summary. That was the summary.
Do you have some pictures that you could show, kind of like where it was, or where it's going, kind of thing? Maybe show us like pictures.
Yeah. So there should be some fancy photos in the control room. I think they can pull them up.
Control room, maybe pull up some fancy photos. Maybe pull up like the before photos.
Yeah, exactly. We got a name, like a file name? Oh, there should just all be in order. So whatever dog is first, I'm fine with. I like them all.
Go
we're going alphabetical.
I like them all equally. Okay, so this is Chance. Okay.
So this is like a before photo?
So exactly. So this is like Chance's intake
photo. This is like
photo.
usually what you get.
Yes. Like if you look on a pet finder, for example.
That's usually we do. And
right?
That, yeah.
And you see this, and this dog had been in the shelter for a year and a half almost.
Yep.
Not a single application, right? No, looking for a chance.
Just looking for a chance.
Exactly.
I get it.
Nobody's noticing him. He's languishing. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, look at what he's got representing him. This is it. This is one shot to capture people's attention. So we took him out on his greatest adventure in Lake Tahoe. So if you kind of just click on over to the next photo, you kind of see like the way that we were able to represent him instead. So we took him swimming in Lake Tahoe, and we played ball.
Fun, playful,
and
which is kind of more probably his personality.
Yeah. Like this is so much more endearing, right? And he's so much more approachable. He's so happy looking. He's on an adventure. He's in the natural world, kind of immersed in the natural world, right? So like getting these moments of like play and kind of silliness and fun. Funny enough, this dog didn't have very big expressions. He wasn't like overly expressive. He had like, kind of this one face, but it just gives somebody something to latch onto. Like this could be my adventure buddy. This could be my best friend. Like I can see it. I can see adventures with him.
Well, if you're scrolling through Pet Finder again, like you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and you need something to make you stop even for a quarter of a second.
It's just like real estate photography.
Yep.
Yeah,
totally.
Exactly.
Or when
like
headshot
marketing.
photography, anything
It's
like that.
It's literally marketing like any. It's weird to say a product,
That's what
right?
we have
But
as a photographer. We have that skill that we can pass on to people.
Yeah.
Because we know how to put stuff in their best light. And
exactly.
You know how to put dogs in their best light. And that's what you're doing there.
That's so kind. So like I get tagged in an Instagram story maybe about 2 weeks after we did that, and it's a picture of Chance upside down with his glorious flaps of destiny of his face flipped upside down on someone's comfy couch, and it was his new owners. And it was her tagging me saying, "You have no idea what you did for me and my family. I found Chase because of your photos, or Chance because of your photos, and he's the love of my life. Like he's the most special thing, and now he lives with us, and it was such a beautiful thing." There's a couple more dogs in the folder if you want to see some kind of more before and afters. This was a dog we worked with in Montana. His name was Rhett. He was in the shelter for about a little over 6 months, right? He was found at an airport as a stray. He was running around on the tarmac. Right. He came in with a friend, another dog, and the other dog got adopted right away, like within a week, and he was languishing for over 6 months. So we took him on his greatest adventure to a river in Montana. And just try to capture him again in a different light. Like let's rebrand him. You know what I mean? Let's take him from this like sad, broken down shelter dog that you think like is broken and doesn't deserve a second chance to like this adventurer, this adventure buddy that could be your best friend. You can see him out in the world, in the colors and the light. So we go half underwater with the underwater housing and just like really try to make him a spectacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's easy to make the shelter dog story like a sad one, the Sarah McLachlan, dogs behind the.
I'll tell you, so we're dog lovers. My wife's a real big dog lover, but she cannot watch those commercials.
Same, I can't either.
Because the way they frame it up is just so. It's so negative.
Yes.
It's a downer.
It's like this is like putting it in a positive light.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
and
exactly.
again, that's where I think with photography we have that gift of putting stuff in its best light, and that's what you're doing here. You're putting these dogs in their best light, and then showing people like this is actually this dog.
Exactly.
This dog isn't like just like flash in their face and just a picture of a snapshot. It's a snapshot, and that's fine. We need snapshots in our life. But the reality is that's the moments you remember with your dogs is when you're out in adventures with them or you're around. Like I still remember like our dog who just passed away this last year, but the year before we were taking her around and we took her out to South Dakota. And we have these pictures of her walking around Sylvan Lake, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we still, like, those are, like, emblazoned in your memories. But that's not the snapshot. Those are those epic shots.
Yep.
Those are those
Exactly,
amazing things. But that's what dogs give to you, and that's what you're trying to give back to people, to show them this could be something you could share with this dog, you know? And I think that's where, if I look at those last pictures, I mean, I could see that dog, like, being in that environment and just being like, yeah, cool, let's go in the river. Let's go do stuff.
It's not let's all feel bad for the shelter dog.
Yeah.
It's look what you're missing out on.
Yeah, let's reframe him with hope and positivity and color and light, and make them the magical, sparkly spectacle that they're supposed to be, that they are. The love that they have in their heart and all that magic that's in there. Like, how do we put that in a still photo so someone who's scrolling Instagram this fast is going to stop for 1 second to consider those eyes and consider that soul?
Now, the other side of that is you have a gift, you know, as a photographer and as that. But what's great about it is you've shared that gift, you know, because, like, you have classes on Kelby One. That, like, these shots that you're showing here, I've seen it, and it's like, that's your look. That's what you do. But you've shared that with other people, so like they can go watch that class on Kelby One. And actually recreate this, and they can even do this in their local area with their local shelters.
100%.
You know.
This is another dog that we just met in Moab in Utah. She's been there for over a year.
Listen, she's adoptable right now.
This dog is incredible. Incredible. So we took her out UTV and we went into the wilds. We went like an hour and a half into the deep of like the Moab wilds, you know, and we took, and the only place in the whole entire Greatest Adventure over the course of 3 months that rained once for 10 minutes was the desert. Moab in the desert. So I got this rain shot of her at the end of the night.
Well, that's really cool.
So a little flash behind her there. And
Moab. And I'll tell you this, if you wanted to go, what's the dog's name?
Val. Her name is Val.
Go adopt Val. I'll tell you what, Scott Kelby and I's favorite burger in the world is in Moab, Utah.
Where? Tell me
Milt's.
Milt's? I missed it. I didn't go to Milt's.
This place is amazing.
Okay.
So you could go to Milt's.
Adopt Val, go to Milt's. Take her to Milt's, get her a burger.
And what's the name of the rescue that Val is at?
She's from the Moab Underdog Animal Rescue. They pull dogs off of the nearby Navajo Reservation. Apparently there's about close to 500,000 strays on the Navajo Reservation. From Utah all the way down to like Arizona and all through that area. So they pull dogs off of there and rehabilitate and rehome them. And Val is incredible. I mean, I cannot believe this dog is still there. She is like, we all cried tears when we left her because she was so special. Because we all wanted her. It's a little difficult when you're living in an RV and we already have 2 dogs and the whole thing. But if we could pull up, there's a couple pictures of the RV itself. That we just to give the folks, the viewers, my grid friends, an example of kind of like just what we're driving around in.
So you got it nice wrapped?
Yeah, we got it wrapped, which was a nightmare to design, Eric.
Sure.
What a nightmare. Because they give you this like CAD designed like grid that's like custom for your rig to design on in, you know, Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever, and it took ages. Because you're like, oh, the eye, you know, I've got the big eye here.
Places,
but then the door hinge is going to go right over the eye, so you got to move everything, and it's a whole thing. But this gives you, a good idea of what we're driving around in. So the cool thing is it stops people a lot at like gas stations and in parking lots. They want to talk about it, and they want to talk about rescue dogs and shelter dogs, and it does a cool piece of education as well, just kind of letting them know, you know what I mean? Like, shelter dogs can be incredible dogs. You don't have to go to a breeder and get a purebred dog. These dogs have so much magic in them. And oftentimes, there are purebred dogs in the shelter anyway.
And look at all the slide outs you had.
So many slide outs. And so it gets so big. And there's a fireplace in there.
Wow.
And it's listen, it was used, so I didn't really get to pick what was in there. It just happened to be in there. And I was like, what? That's how the other side lives.
The reality is with like a Class A RV, not to change subject, but a Class A RV, it's very similar. Like they change a little bit inside, but it's like you have a bedroom, you have a living room, you have your kitchen. I mean, there's not much you can do. So it's not, but it's really cool when they slide out, they get really big.
No, totally. It's cool. And we just want to shout out truly to Canon for being such a big like supporter of the project, and Fresh Pet, which is a big dog food brand. You've probably heard of them. They're fantastic, and they're a big supporter, as well as Frame.io, which is a really cool piece of software that we use to like streamline all the production of this, which is, it's very difficult to create a whole YouTube series, which, have I mentioned, there's a whole YouTube series following everything we do, youtube.com/@Dog Breath Foundation. So we'll talk a little bit more about that because we have our video crew with us, and they are incredible. And producing this whole series from the road when we're filming with shelters for 10 hours a day, and if we're not doing that, we're driving 10 hours a day to the next spot, has been like a remarkable feat. So we have our video crew.
How are you managing like your connection on the roads?
We have Starlink.
I have Starlink too.
Yeah, we have Starlink. It's been pretty good, unless you end up in like a forest, and then you're really in trouble.
That's the only problem, when you can't see the sky.
Yeah, because it's like satellite based, right?
Sky.
So you need like a big swath of open sky, and sometimes we have some Wi-Fi connectivity problems.
I can get that.
It can be
in
a little.
Forests, you do have problems.
Yeah, it can be a little bit of a struggle.
I have a huge pole that I stick off the back of mine.
Yeah.
Huge pole.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I was thinking about the pole solution.
Yeah.
Gonna have to think a little more on it, I guess.
Yeah, the pole.
All the cool guys have the poles.
The poles. I
Hey,
could
don't
talk
tell me on
about
that.
poles.
This dog is amazing. His name is Vigo. He's a Belgian Malinois. We photographed him in Cannon Beach in Oregon. He's also been there for actually about a year and 3 months now. I do have somebody who's like really interested in him, and they're from Florida, and they might just consider driving there for him.
Look at that, that's beautiful.
But that's Haystack Rock from the Goonies, babies.
Yeah.
So if you've seen the Goonies, you know that rock. If you've ever been to Oregon, you probably also know that rock just from being there.
It's the balancing of the scene.
Yeah,
that's
thank
so
you.
beautiful.
Oh, that means a lot to me. Thank you. Coming from the mastermind himself of composition.
I don't know about that.
And starry things.
But
Thank
I
you.
think that's what's so great about it is, and that's what again the viewers could take out of it. Like that's what we talk about when we're talking about like making sure that it like all just looks cohesive.
Yeah.
It doesn't look flashy. It doesn't look like overlit, but it also doesn't look under. It's like perfect. It's like finding that balance. But of course, you have a look. And that's another thing that we talk about a lot on the show is like, when people show us photos and they show us the blind photo critiques, we'll have they do 3 images and all 3 images look totally different, like 3 different photographers took
exactly.
it. And that's a big thing. And that's one thing of like, when I see your photos, I'm like, yep, that's Kaylee's photo.
That really means a lot to me. Yeah, I think like if you can recognize a photo without it having a watermark or like a signature, you've done it. You know what I mean? Then you've done it. You've sort of arrived at. You have this like unique voice.
Yep.
And I think that is what keeps certain photographers really busy and successful, and having brands coming after them or clients who want that look and they can't get it anywhere else.
But that's why we're doing this. So you've got this purpose. You're going to do this. So what are you hoping to do beyond that first year?
So we're going back out again. So right now we're on a little break. We just ended the 3 months. We're gonna chill out for Christmas back at our place in New Hampshire. I haven't been to my own home in 3.5 months. In fact, when I first got here, your awesome accounting gal came out and asked me, because I teach Kelby 1 classes, she said, I sent you a check in July that hasn't been cashed. She's like, well, what happened? And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I haven't gotten my mail since August 1st because I haven't been home.
So what happens later?
What happens later?
Is we are hoping that by teaching these workshops and donating these cameras, that these people are going to continue to do exactly what we are doing. And we had the most wonderful success story from our first episode that we did with that hound dog that we showed. His name was Rhett, where the volunteer that was with us, she was amazing, super helpful. Her name was Kat, so shout out to Kat. She texted me about a week later and said, I took 3 more dogs out for day adventures and did their photos, and they've all been adopted.
That's
she used
awesome.
the camera. She learned the camera. She used the camera. She took them out on adventures, and she said 3 out of 3 long-term dogs she got adopted.
Well, let's say anybody's watching this right now, and they're in that position. Is there something that they can do to help or get involved or anything like that?
Thank you for bringing that up. That's fantastic. Yes. If you love photography, you feel like, you're good at it, you have a knack for it, a beautiful eye, go to your local shelter. See if they could use help. A lot of times these people are drowning at these shelters. They're overwhelmed, right? They have admin and emails and people coming in from the public and dogs to take care of and feed, and they're really not focusing on photography often. They're I can see it. Look, I can see my makeup is squishing in the close-up shot. But often they don't have the time or the resources to dedicate to taking amazing photos. So they just do what they can very quickly, and it's not doing that dog any justice. And so they languish and they sit. And we've noticed when we change up their photos, when we come through these shelters, often there's action on these dogs within days or weeks.
Right.
Just because everything changed for that dog suddenly. They had no voice, and now they kind of have a cool story to tell. So can you go into your local shelter and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm a local photographer, I'd love to come in, once a week, or hey, even 2 days a month, if that's what you can spare, and take some photos of your longest term dogs that really need help, and I can do a better job than what they've got going on right now. You don't have to be, a Michelin star photographer. That's not a thing. That's for restaurants, not for photographers.
It could be.
But you know what I mean. I'm giving out Michelin
I'll
stars.
put that on there. I'm a Michelin star photographer.
Yeah, I'm putting it on my website.
Who's that?
I'm a Michelin star photographer,
I heard I was a Michelin
Doesn't
star
that sound
photographer.
good, though?
Yeah.
Like, you could put it on there, and you could probably
But
sell
how many
it.
stars do you have? Because like Michelin stars are weird, because if you have one Michelin star, it's like really
It's
good.
a good thing.
Yeah, and
I
if you have
5.
two, it's like, wow.
I have 5, you have 6.
Yeah.
You will have like 9
30.
or 10. Oh, 30.
Yeah.
30
But anyway,
stars.
why can't you, go to the shelter and offer up your help, because
There.
it can make a huge difference.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of storytelling, part of storytelling is video as well.
Yes.
So I'm surprised you haven't commented on Christina's break sign, though, that she has.
Oh, I didn't even notice it.
See, already
I
you
know.
started to tune it out.
I'm like,
it's what happens. It
becoming
didn't grow any
one
bigger yet.
with
but-
a grid life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm just kidding.
Yep, you're getting used to it.
I know.
So we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the other side of this whole adventure, which is video.
You know that we do a lot with lighting in our work, right? And I love to find the contrast in my lighting. And it means that, well, high contrast lighting often means that I'm using several strobes. For example, one strobe on one side to light our model, and one strobe from the other side to, for example, give an accent, lens flare, or whatnot more. But there are also a lot of people that don't own 2 strobes, or maybe you're limited on your location and you can only use one strobe, right? So we thought it would be a great idea to go back to basics and start a class with using one strobe. But I thought, you know what? We can do a lot of different setups with just one strobe. But let's throw in a little bit of a curveball. Let's also talk about modifiers, what you can do with the modifiers and how you can create mood, contrast, and maybe in the end, add a second strobe to create some extra impact in your images. So join me in an adventure that's actually gonna start with just an open strobe and very, very harsh lighting. Are you ready for it?
I am a portrait and wedding photographer based in Valencia, Spain.
I do mainly commercial and editorial photography, and I retouch up to 100 photos a month.
We shoot almost every day for all kinds of clients, such as commercial, beauty, and fashion. And we retouch our work more often, like every other day.
I used to spend over 1 hour for one photo.
If we want professional results, we must remove skin blemishes, do micro dodge and burn, highlight eyes, whiten teeth, and even reduce wrinkles in clothes. And this can easily take me up to 2 hours of work for each photo.
So when I saw that there's a plugin for Photoshop that helps you retouch quicker, I was eager to get my hands on it.
I read many feedbacks about it, and I found a lot of positive reviews, which made me to consider buying my first plugin.
One of the challenges we have at the end of a session or wedding is to achieve an edition in our photograph that looks natural. This is where retouch for me has become a game changer.
I love the feature that you can pick how much effect it has on your photo, and you can adjust it accordingly to your style.
I saved a lot of time and always end up having amazing result with my work.
I am extremely happy with the quality.
Now I am more efficient and have more time to spare with my family.
Hey, I'm Mary, a studio photographer from Orlando, Florida, coming to St. Pete to shoot in the outdoors. Today, I'm going to show you how to take beautiful portraits in any scenic environment. We're going to go and shoot in the park. We're going to find beautiful trees. We're going to shoot against buildings. And we're going to show you how to get creative elements in really, really busy environments like an alley. we're going to go through and show you how to pull your subject out of a background. We're going to show you how to take a really busy environment and kind of hone in on your subject. So join me here at kelby1.com. I'll see you there.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
All right, we're back, and we're talking about the other side of it. So we have, who do we have joining us here? We have Doug, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Douglas Young.
I'm
Photographer extraordinaire. He's done all the magic behind.
So all the video we saw earlier, that was your
That's this guy.
your handiwork
I'll
mostly.
take some credit for it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, some of it was Kelby One footage, that I got permission from Scott
That's
to
true.
use. It was just like some of the shelter footage from the first class we did.
Yeah.
It was so lovely of Scott. Shout out to let us use a little bit of that in the promo video. So thank you.
Yeah, well, that's a big part of it. I mean, we're always into helping people. I mean that's what we do, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's why we're in business.
Yeah.
Why this is a business. The business that we're in is we love to help people.
Yeah.
Like we really do. Like I'm not like like we really do. Like we really enjoy this stuff. Like we have a group that we have the VIP members and all that, and we get to spend a little bit more time with them, and it's great to be able to do that because we get more involved with their life.
Yeah,
kind of like you're doing with the. Not to compare it because this is shelter dog is totally different, but it's that whole thing of when you get to invest more time and connection and all that stuff. There's just you just feel more connected with it, and I think that's where you guys that's probably a hard part of what you guys are doing though, is you get to connect with these dogs, and then you're like kind of invested.
Oh, your heart.
Because that's how I get it. Like I want people to like. I am so happy when our members like make great photos
have wins,
and do,
right?
win awards and do all that stuff. So like it must be like a big thing when these dogs get adopted.
It is.
Right?
We're mostly it's tears all around.
Right.
We're like so excited, but. Yeah, there was a couple dogs that we all like really had some tears over leaving. We had a hard time leaving them. I mean, all of them, but for sure there's a few that really like speak to your heart in a big way. But Doug's been doing an amazing job capturing, their stories in like a quick video. In this like TikTok generation we're living in, Instagram Reels, right? Like you've gotta, if you wanna showcase something, you've gotta kind of like do it quickly and do it really effectively and tell like short stories very, very quickly. So he's kind of a master of that. Like when we started brainstorming for this project, he was the first person that I thought of like storytelling king, like very good at quick short stories. And so they've been on board traveling with us, Doug and Emily, who are the duo behind Doug and Emmy at Doug and Emmy on Instagram.
Yeah.
So follow them, give them a follow. And they have been doing all the video work.
So you've been going in a different RV?
Yes. So we travel in.
Yes, you're not all crammed into one RV.
No,
that would be tight.
No.
That would
we
be
need
tight.
a little bit more space.
Yeah.
So we've been we have a little Airstream that we've been towing around. We've been RVing for about 5 years. And now we've converted it into a bit of a mobile studio.
Yeah.
And
it probably works well for that,
It does. You put that little, I'll say our kitchen table hasn't necessarily been a place where you can eat dinner for the last 3 months.
Yep, that's
how my RV is too. Our table is basically my wife and I's workstation,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what we've used it for. So everything from when we come in after a full day of shooting and we have to offload all of our different devices and all our data into one central location, and then putting together the videos while we're on the road. That all happened in that little, 180 square feet silver tube.
Yeah, like often we'll be filming one day for like 10 hours and the next day we're driving for maybe 6 to 8 hours to the next spot. So he's sitting in like the front seat of their truck while Emily drives and he's editing videos together, like going down the road with no Wi-Fi, you know what I mean? It's very like this rudimentary setup, but the magic that they've produced with those conditions has been really pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how it came together. Our pace has been intense, but I wouldn't want it any other way. It's been so much fun, and we've been able to really invest so much of our time and our hearts into these videos. It's made it really special.
Now let me ask you, so because I mean I share love for both. A lot of my beginning of my career was in video. Like that's really how I started here at even Kelby One, but I always loved photography. I think the reason I love photography so much is it wasn't as hard as video. No offense.
True.
No offense. But I'm telling you, like, it was one of those things, because with video, you have to not only worry about the lighting, you have to not only worry about basically capturing 30 pictures a second, but then you also have the audio.
Yeah.
So you've got all those elements that have to come together. However, video and audio, or video and photography, they kind of cross over, they kind of bridge very easy. So that's where, with our audience, like people that are watching, like how do you think, what do you think has been the easiest way to kind of like bridge that transition, or what do you think is one of the things recently that's really helped with that? Because I know that there's a lot of tools out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you guys were talking about a little bit earlier, light being one of the most important components, my life has been made so easy because wherever we go, it's stunning. We have beautiful light, we're shooting at the right times of day, and the equipment that we're using, like you said, it correlates across photo and video.
Yeah.
So my locations, my planning, a lot of it has been done for me, and now we just have to translate it to capturing the process of capturing the photos of these dogs.
Yeah. Now, do you find yourself with video, I find that a lot of times with our crew especially, that everything's getting smaller rather than bigger.
Yep.
In fact, I know our team loves those little DJI little pockets with the gimbal. Holy moly. Those are amazing.
What was we have one, like a POV cam that we use that's a little magnetic, like
point of
action
view
cam,
for any,
point of view.
Yeah.
That you can wear, or we can put it on one of the cameras so you can see what we're seeing, and you get the perspective of maybe Kaylee when she's on a location.
Well, we can put it on the dog too. There's a harness we bought that goes on the dog, and it goes over the back of his ears.
Yes,
you know, so as he's running around, he's experiencing his day. You're experiencing it from his POV.
Yeah.
Well,
but we're
cool.
mainly shooting on Canon a C70 and an R5C. The R5C is amazing. That thing is incredible, and it's like so much.
Yeah, we have C70s for our crew, and that's what we use.
It's been a dream. I mean, I'm not doing a lot of the video, but just even playing around with those. I'm shooting on a Canon R3 for the still photos, but sometimes I flick over into video mode and I do like kind of these slow-mo, like moving portrait things that we can add into the episodes. So it gives it a little artful kind of taste, as well as being like documentarian.
Yep.
It's been an amazing setup. So
the fact that we can have Emmy, 2 cameras and be able to follow to some of these locations where we are almost constantly in water, hiking up mountains, getting dirty, and we can capture what we've been able to is a big testament to how small things have gotten, and you can still keep the quality up.
Small and light, and then also, like you said, I mean, if you need any light anymore, you don't need much light.
No.
You know, you just need a little bit of like accent light or kicker light, or you know, it doesn't really have to be like anything where you can just slap it's like a little battery unit, you know, it's not like this huge light. So that's nice. And it's nice that we can run our ISO so high.
Yep.
You know, it used to be, you know, you couldn't push your gain up on a video camera. And now, I mean, do you find that you have any problems there?
No, we have so much flexibility with that. And the same thing with some of our cinema cameras, they have built-in ND filters. So we have neutral density that can darken our image when we are in a really bright location.
I know. I'm like, why do not they bring those to still cameras?
Yeah.
I would love, because it's nice to have just that little switch on the Canon where it just boom, and it's like there's 6 stops. Boom, 10 stops. Like, I love that.
That's pretty wild.
I want that.
There is a video actually in that folder that I had sent you guys' way that kind of just showcases one of the kind of styles of video that Doug and Emily will do for the dogs. So they'll get their photos, and then they get this awesome like video kind of promo reel, which the shelters then share to their social media and to the website, and they kind of make it like the featured banner on the website. And so this is another like amazing way to kind of show these dogs, you know, in a moving kind of situation in a different light.
So roll that beautiful bean footage.
Roll that footage.
This is Wheelbur, a dog searching for his best
So that's the struggle with video. So here's one of the struggles, and I know what happened there.
What happened?
An encoding issue, right? It's probably whatever they transcoded into, or whatever they were playing, whatever. Oh, they're going to transcode.
Oh,
See, there's all these words.
That's true. Amazing magic.
So we're going to transcode now.
Is wheel.
So what that means is kind of like converting it from RAW to JPEG or something like
Oh,
that.
interesting.
Like, we're just going to take it to a different format. And in fact, I think they've already transcoded it already.
Oh, bless ya.
This is Wilbur. A dog searching for his best friend. Despite his wheels, he's always down for an adventure. He'll try new things and do what many would say is impossible. Although he really loves his ball, he's always happiest when he's with his companions. But these companions were temporary. And what he's really looking for is his forever home.
All right, we're back. So there you go. So that's yeah, so that's kind of what you guys are doing to kind of feature these dogs, so that way they can kind of like, because it's not just stills, but then video helps, especially nowadays. I mean, everybody, you know, video's like king when it comes to social media, especially.
Exactly.
So, what do you find as being the most success for these dogs in video?
You know, I think it's always a challenge. Dogs are fast. That is one of those things that when we're capturing some of this, we're very active. We've got to be keeping up with these dogs as well as the whole process of filming. And then when it comes to the presentation online, it's anything that can really kind of pull at the heartstrings to make people realize, like, these dogs are here. They're absolutely incredible. They can be your best friend, and it's just a matter of taking a little bit of time to meet them and get to know them a little bit to really let them shine.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing with a dog, owning a dog, at least my perspective on it, is that beginning part. And I think that's what scares a lot of people, is that beginning part. But then the payoff's great.
Yeah,
you know? So it's like you just got to get by that little beginning part. Well, cool, awesome. Well, we have to take another break. And we're saying that Wilbur is still adoptable.
So you notice that he had wheels, and he's Wilbur, and his name is Wilbur, which is pretty fabulous. I love that the rescue has like such a beautiful sense of humor. But yeah, that's one of the photos we took of him in Lake Tahoe. We were also in Tahoe with him. There were 2 shelters there that needed help, and I couldn't say no. So that's him on his boat ride. That's him out of his wheels. He couldn't be in his wheels on the boat, so he got carried around because he has no back legs. A marble table fell on him when he was a puppy, just about 2 weeks old, and it paralyzed him from the waist down. So they had to remove his legs because they were completely like immobile, and he was dragging them. So he needs to be like expressed in order to go to the bathroom. Like you need to help him like push it out, and so that makes him a little bit of a difficult.
He's special needs.
Yeah, he's a special needs guy, but he's really and he's still adoptable. So
I've had a special needs dog before, but again, it's one of those things where you do it because you love them. You know, so it's what you do.
Yeah,
it's what we do with humans. It's why would we do it with dogs?
Yeah.
So, all right, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we have to take a break. When we come back, we got another guest joining us. So we'll see you guys back here in just a couple minutes.
Thanks, guys, for letting us share about all this magical stuff. We are so grateful. I'm Kaylee Greer of Dog Breath Photography. When people look through my images, they typically ask me, what in the world? How are all these dogs that you photograph so perfectly well behaved? Are these magical dogs from a magical land? Well, I gotta tell you, no, they're not. They're real dogs. We're going to work with multiple dogs and getting them all in one really nice group shot together. We're gonna work with a wild, crazy, untamed puppy. We're going to work with a black and a white dog together. We're also gonna deal with a fearful, skittish shelter dog. Photographing dogs, as you know, can be incredibly challenging. Oh wow! Situations that you would have to deal with in any normal dog photo shoot. Oh wow! Difficult dogs, real world scenarios. Wow! It got loud. Difficult dogs, real world scenarios. Join me in my class on kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
All right, we're back, and we're with another Kelby One instructor. We got Jeff Leimbach joining us. So how you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great.
So you're here actually recording the class, right?
I am.
Yeah, so what's your class on that you're recording?
It is Landscape Photography Basics.
Okay, so the basics of doing landscapes.
Getting started in it. And
but you just did a class on, we're talking about, having purpose and, doing something with purpose. And not all the time does that mean you're, giving of your time and volunteering with the shelter or doing that stuff. But a lot of times as a photographer, we have to shoot with a purpose. And you were just doing a class on like events, because that's one of the things that like you have to, when you're shooting an event, right, you're working for a client. Or you're working for somebody, and you have to shoot with a purpose. You're
telling a story.
You can't just go and just show up for the event, right, and just take snapshots and get paid, right?
That correct, and that doesn't happen. And I highlight that in the class. It's basically you're telling a story from the entrance of people coming to the end of the event, and it's a progression, and it is a story. So when you guys said that I was going to jump in here for a few minutes and talk about images with a purpose, it scared me a little bit because I don't have a great resource, like a great project like you have going on here. And so I struggled to say, and you wanted me to share an image or two, and I'm thinking, do I have any images with a purpose? But I guess you're right in saying that when we're shooting for clients, whether it's my architectural clients or an event photography, there is a purpose to it. But a lot of times I'm just shooting for myself, and it's purposeful. We tried to see if this was actually a word. It's purposeful for me, but is it purposeful for the world? So interesting. So I'm glad to be here and sitting next to you. It's cool stuff. I've been admiring your work for a long time.
Oh my gosh, stop! That's so kind. And same straight back to you. It's a legend to be, an honor to be sitting next to a legend.
Oh, no, good gosh!
You were gonna swear at me.
There was a word coming up, but it wasn't swearing.
No, it's fine. Listen, it's all good.
That.
No, but I mean that's the point though. There is like us as photographers, we have a purpose to tell that story, right? And I think that's sometimes where we miss it. Like we talked about lighting as being a really key thing that you found with the shelters. That that's something. But I think it's not only that; it's then the story behind it. Like for example, with your pictures, a lot of times you were showing the dogs in their environments that they normally would be in. Same thing with events. I do a lot of aerospace. Like it's telling the purpose. Like why are we going to space? What are we trying to explore or discover? Like there's a purpose for that, but there's a story that we as photographers have to tell.
Right.
And that's one of the things in that class where you're talking about event photography that I noticed was that kind of common thread that you have to tell the story of the event. You're not just like snapping pictures. So I think that's where a lot of photographers, they struggle, is they're just trying to like make pictures, but they're not putting themselves in the mind of who's going to view this and how they're going to, like, for example, when we go back to, that's where good real estate photography, you do a lot of architectural photography, good real estate photography, like we were talking about, it sells buildings. When a real estate when a building has better pictures, there's people that will buy a house sight unseen from the photos.
Yeah.
Right? Some people will adopt a dog because of the pictures. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's the power that photographers can have and possess.
An architect told me one time that buildings and design don't win building awards. It's the photography that wins the awards.
Yeah,
that's
always.
So interesting.
So yeah,
True.
Yeah.
So I try to shoot it that way. So.
Yeah, people are such visual creatures, you know what I mean? In order to appeal to your fellow human, it's about like spectacle, color, light. How do you capture like the psychology of what makes somebody care about something? I think that's the magic, like art that we kind of possess, this magic power as photographers, is that we kind of intuitively know what would draw another human being in based on just visuals and kind of spectacle, color, light, the combination of those things. And it makes, you know, me feel like we're little sorcerers sometimes, you know, we're these little magical sorcerers. And I feel so grateful to be able to pick up a camera and be able to translate kind of the world through it, which is what you do so spectacularly, you know, with your landscape stuff. And I know that you also have a photo that you brought along, right?
I did. I brought. So again, trying to come up with an image. The only thing I can come up with is my grand dog. So if they want to show that image,
there's so excited.
There you go. So that is Macy, and she lives in Chicago, and she's sitting out on the balcony. And I just turned around with my camera and caught this.
She is so beautiful.
She is gorgeous.
Get out the soul in those eyes. And what is so magical about this is like the cool color tones that really like kind of translate this epicness. And also because she's an Arctic breed, it feels like like I would have thought you shot this somewhere like on location in the snow. Like it's very cold feeling. It's very epic. It feels like she's on a mountain. And I want to snuggle up in her fur and have a nap in a cave.
Yeah. No, this is exactly.
Like you said, it works for the breed. It works
totally,
for the breed.
absolutely works.
Now she's just sitting on her chair out on the balcony of their condo.
Wow,
and,
that's
in
beautiful.
Chicago. So, yeah, and I do have a dog myself. I do have a pet, although my owner, the owner is my neighbor. So,
well, that's good because they take care of the vet.
I'm sure there's a story there.
So Kona is this beautiful female dog that comes running over to the house every time she gets let out, and she sits at the doorstep. She comes running over to see if we're out. She comes into the house, and when she's done, she just leaves.
Oh, my God.
Sometimes I'll text her owner during the day if they're not home, and I'll say, can Kona come out and play? And she'll text back, sure, and I'll go open the garage and let her out, and we'll goof around and play for a bit. And it's all great. So we lost our dogs, our last dog a couple years ago, and we haven't replaced her. Yeah. But I feel like we still have one, but I don't have to take care of it. I just get to play with it. So it's kind of cool.
That's kind of a win-win.
It's like having a grandchild.
Yeah, right? You get to like give them back.
Got one of those on the way too.
Oh,
so.
what?
Well, there you go.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Not anytime soon, but one day maybe.
Yeah, we've got one of those we're expecting in May.
Oh, wow.
Well, there you go.
So,
congratulations.
One of those. Little human being thing, you know?
But that's got to be a great feeling. It's like, I love, having my daughter's amazing. But there is that thing of like when you think about being a grandparent and then to being like you can enjoy all that and then be like, okay, here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to sleep.
Deal with that.
I'm going to take a nap with the dog in a cave.
I'm spoiling that child. We're definitely spoiling that child.
Yeah,
so that's
exciting.
awesome.
Cool stuff.
Well, cool. Well, both of you. Where can everybody learn more about what you guys are doing? So maybe start with you.
Let's start.
Let's start with you.
Let's start with the important people.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
So where can people go learn about this with you, but then also this project? Because I know some people are going to want to get involved.
Oh, I'm so excited to share, and thank you so much for letting me share. I would love it if you guys could go to the dogbreathfoundation.org. It's either dogbreathfoundation.org or thedogBreathfoundation.org. They'll both bring you there because we bought both domains just in case.
Yeah.
So that'll tell you all about the project.
Because you might want the Facebook.
Yeah. Exactly. All the links are on there, but would love it if you could follow me on Instagram if you don't already. I'm posting tons of stuff there about it. It's I'm just at Dog Breath Photography on Instagram, and actually right there on the top left, the last thing I posted was one of those gorgeous videos that Doug did of one of our adoptable dogs that we worked with.
Vigo.
Vigo out in Cannon Beach. Also, follow us on YouTube because that's where you're going to see everything. And as photography goes, it's cool because you can watch the whole process from start to finish of me shooting.
So what
coming up
YouTube
with the
channel
ideas.
is that? Is that the same?
YouTube.com/@the Dog Breath Foundation. The or no the? Okay, YouTube.com/@the Dog Breath Foundation. Why is there an @ symbol in there? Please don't ask me why. I don't understand anything about YouTube, but apparently that's what they're doing now, @ symbols. Just go to the dogbreathfoundation.org. There's a YouTube link right at the top.
That's probably the best way.
Yeah, just do that.
I'm going to say that.
Follow us. I would love it if you could follow us. I'd be so grateful. And then if you want to follow Doug as well, he's incredible videography, kind of follow. He's at Doug and Emmy, DOUG ANDEMMIE. How's my spelling? Spelling bee.
That was pretty good, I think.
I'm kicking butt at this whole spelling bee.
I think so.
Thank
On
you.
the fly, that's hard to do.
Yeah, give us a follow. Read this book.
There's no prompt on screen. She's doing this live.
I'm just spelling.
So
Listen, look at me go. I'm just spelling left and right. But yeah, check out my book too if you get a chance. Now that it's been out for like a few years, it's like $0 on Instagram on Amazon. You know how like books really drop in price. So just go get it for like basically
just
free.
Just go get it.
At this point. That's enough for me. But thanks everybody for your support and your kindness.
And if you're Diane Lee, you're going to get a copy of the book.
Oh,
Diane Lee's getting a copy?
Yeah.
All right, nice.
Love it.
So Jeff,
yes,
where are you going to find out about you?
First off, we can go to kelby1.com. I've got, I think that I'm recording my 6th class.
Oh, wow.
So that's a lot of classes up there. So there we go. There is
a couple on architectural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What to shoot is always popular.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a general ideas class. It's kind of cool.
That is a cool idea.
Yeah. So anyway, we can go there, but we can also go to my Instagram account. I only post images there. So it is JL Photographic, all one word. And
photographer that only posts image.
It's just stuff that I shoot during.
Look at there's Milky Way stuff with a little light painting.
Yeah, I just got back from the Nightscapers conference in Kanab, Utah. I got to spend a week there, so we actually
that orb photo was that from the conference?
No, we did that the night before the conference.
Yeah,
but you did it in Utah.
Yeah, we did. That's in the Great Salt Lake there. That's by Salt Lake City. But I was asked to go out there with my job, and I was asked to teach a couple classes, and it was interesting because they said we need you to teach a class at the Nightscapers conference. I'm not a night sky photographer. You sure you want me to teach a night photography class? So I said okay, and they said we need a title for the class. This was like 3 weeks before the conference.
Yeah.
Then we need a title for the class. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, well, what? I don't know. You put me on the spot. So I just said, the world comes alive at night.
Thinking, that's nice.
But the problem was, now I got this title. Now I got to fill it with something.
With
content. So I just went to every archive drive that I had, and I just started pulling all the images for that I had that were shot at night, and I just talked about different things that you can shoot on night, different ideas and stuff. And it worked out okay. So it worked out.
I love that night photography stuff.
Yeah.
This guy knows a thing or two about it.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what I love about the nights?
Yeah.
Is I love it because it's like you said, basically it's kind of the world is your oyster at night because you don't have to battle with that big nuclear reactor that just puts off so much light.
Yeah.
The sun just overpowers everything.
Yeah.
So then at night you can kind of decide what you want to light and what you don't.
True.
It's like working in the studio but out in nature. So it's like I get the nature part, which I love.
That's a good way
And then
to
I get the
put it.
studio part, which I love.
Yeah.
So that's why I love night.
We do a lot of. We've done in the past a lot of light painting at night.
That's why I love
with
it.
big monuments and big
love it.
big landscapes and stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. And that's what that class was. I took 51 people. My boss and I took 51 people out to a spot in Arizona to photograph that Milky Way, and we light painted the structure up with some lights. And it was just great. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, we were just doing that out in Vegas. We did some light painting out at the ghost town. We did a workshop, Scott and I.
Wait, you did that already?
Yeah.
I missed it. How did it go?
It went great.
Oh,
it was awesome.
That's exciting.
It was amazing.
I love
if you
Vegas.
didn't last week, I know Scott went all over that.
That was okay. I'm gonna have to watch. I must have missed that episode. Listen, I watch every episode of The Grid, but I just gave myself away because I must have missed last week. Woo!
Except for the one that you were supposed to watch.
I know. I guess so. I was excited about that workshop, so I can't wait to hear about it.
It was amazing. It really was. I don't know. Maybe I got some. I might have some pictures of it.
That'd be great.
See, nobody's mad about you going overtime if you're showing pictures, you know.
Right.
Because like that's my thing. I just want to see all the pictures everyone else takes.
So look at us both leaning over
oh
to see.
my!
We did like helicopter stuff. So we went over the.
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
if they have it, but
This wasn't part of the workshop, though.
yeah,
was it?
no, it was part of the workshop. We took the attendees up in the helicopters and we shot the strip.
Did you tell everyone
Look
they had
at
to put their life at risk in a helicopter before you put them in it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
It was amazing. You know, like I did not get to shoot much, so I don't have many shots
I hear
because
that.
you're teaching the whole time.
I totally get that. Yeah.
But we got
How did you say still enough in a helicopter?
Well, that is not a helicopter.
Oh, okay. All right.
That is actually a hotel room that we had
Stop.
To take that shot.
That is outrageous.
Which is
then
now,
we went out
which
to
is
this
now gone.
track outside of Vegas. Did we had Ferraris, buzzing by, being able to kind of like teach people how to do action panning.
Oh yeah, this
So that
is
was
legit.
really cool.
Look at that light.
Right.
Wow. Light tells
That
us
was light painting that we did out at that ghost town. We got the light with the car. So that scene would be basically black without the light painting,
Yeah,
So
right, exactly.
You're just using the lights to light up stuff.
I'm
But
starting
then-
to wonder why you and I weren't invited to this.
I'm thinking the same. Where's Macy? I want to put Macy out in front of
Yeah,
that
we did-
little house right there.
The
and then
most I have is the helicopter because I got to ride the helicopter every time because Scott is not a helicopter
Oh,
person.
because you had to take people.
So I had to take people. So I got a bunch of helicopter shots.
So you had to do like
Yeah.
single shot stuff in the helicopter. You couldn't be doing like HDR-esque things, right? Because you're moving too much.
I did some HDRS things.
Really?
I have got my tricks.
In-camera HDR.
Ooh, this guy's got tricks.
In-camera
tricks.
HDR you could get away with.
Wow.
If you were trying to
Yeah.
bracket yourself, you may not.
But yeah, so
Is that the dome in the background with the face? Oh, get out. Wow,
That's
I
cool.
see it.
Thanks for sharing
Well,
those.
there you
That's
go.
fantastic.
But yeah, if you want to see all about that, Scott did a whole breakdown last
Okay,
week of
okay.
everything. But that was just, and really, I don't have that many shots. We're helping people out.
I
'Cause
know what
again,
it's like, yeah.
what's the purpose
Yeah.
of what we're doing? We really want to help the people that are
Yeah.
coming, learn and do all that stuff. It's not about us getting shots. However, I did get some shots beforehand, which weren't in there. Those were all from the workshop. But,
Yeah.
So
it was great.
Interesting point. I love that point because I had my own workshop tour for a while. I traveled with Moose Peterson one year on his workshop tour, and there was one thing that I did, especially when I said I took 51 people out. We didn't take our cameras out.
Yeah, I hardly
we
do.
walked around and helped people the
Yeah.
entire time. We weren't. We shot that the couple nights before. We didn't need to shoot it again.
Yeah, I mean,
And
honestly,
I
a
love
lot of
that.
times we're just capturing the shots. A lot of times I'm catching one or two just to show in the class the next day.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like post-processing.
Yeah, Right. right.
In fact, though, we were shooting the Milky Way. We actually were able to shoot the Milky Way at Nelson, right outside of Vegas, which not ideal conditions, but at least people getting to know how to shoot the Milky Way. And I realized I was helping so many people. I didn't get a shot. I had to take one of Scott's shots to show people how to edit it.
yeah.
Because I was like, Scott, I didn't
Yeah.
even take a shot. I was so busy just like, because usually
Yeah.
we'll take one. I'll
Right.
take like one, but just didn't have the time.
I think it makes sense to have the camera around your neck and be able to say, well, you framed it up this way. What if
Yeah.
you click? What if you
Yeah.
framed it
Yeah.
up this way? And to be able to show an example or something.
Yeah.
But
you know what I use for that anymore? Is
There you go.
this.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
This
Good
is
idea.
like it's a wide camera, ultra wide, a wide, a telephoto. It's amazing what you can get out of this, and then show people because again, it's not about the camera. It's about the framing. It's about the lighting. It's about the story. It's less about the camera.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
No,
But
the camera's
great
nice,
point.
and
Yeah.
like I said, I mean, to me, Canon just has to be the camera that gets out of my way the most.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this probably gets out of my way the most. This one is.
Yeah, but
pretty-
if you can
pretty
find
cool.
if you can find yourself a workshop that the instructors are more wanting to help you as opposed to getting their own shots, then you found a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
all about
true.
that.
Absolutely.
Yep. And speaking of that, I think we've releasing the dates. I've got a Milky Way workshop coming up next year. Probably be releasing the dates pretty soon at milkywayworkshops.com. So.
What? Where's it going to be? Do you know yet, or you're not announcing that yet?
No, I know where it's going to be because, again, with me, it's more about education and training than
Yeah.
it is location.
Okay,
right?
okay,
Like,
so-
I don't like. I want people to come away with the knowledge and the expertise to go do it wherever they want.
Okay. Right.
Like, I don't want you to come and be like, hey, we're taking you on a photo tour somewhere.
Mhm.
Like, this is like education or training. And I found a awesome place to do that.
Okay.
So because I found this awesome place to do it, where it's like the perfect conditions, perfect environment for learning, all that stuff, I just always go do that, because I know you can walk away at the end and master Milky Way photography. That's really what I want to do, because I'm a one-trick pony with that. Like, I'm a Milky Way photographer. Like, of course, I do other things, but like when it comes to Milky Way, like I love that, and it's like I'll teach people how to do that.
Yeah.
But that's why we do what we do here at Kelby One. I mean, we have classes all about that. If you want to learn about Milky Way photography, if you want to learn about dog photography, if you want to learn about architectural photography, just go over to kelby1.com. You can sign up, and for just a dollar, less than $1 a day, you can be learning this stuff. So definitely go check that out over at kelby1.com. Speaking of other things that we didn't talk about, because we're talking about dogs, animals, we have a wildlife conference coming up next month. So wildlife photography conference. This one is blowing up. Like, people, this subject is one where, well, I love wildlife photography.
Yeah.
I don't do it as much as I'd like to, but I love wildlife photography, especially because it helps me with my aviation and my aerospace photography. If you can capture a bird in flight, you could do any. Like that Ferrari that I showed, that Ferrari is easy compared to a bird in flight.
You're absolutely right.
I mean, these birds, like you see a bird, they have a mind of their own. They're just going to go wherever they want.
Yeah, it's true.
A Ferrari has to stay on the track, hopefully.
This is why, I admire bird photographers. It's one reason I don't shoot them.
Yes.
I was on
bird
a workshop one time, and Joe McNally said, Jeff, why do you like landscapes so much? And I said, because those rocks don't move. I have time to set things up. And he says, well, that's why I love photographing people, because people move and I enjoy that.
But see, that's my real passion. I would say, if anybody said, what type of photography are you? I am an action photographer.
Yeah.
That's what I love. I just love capturing action, and that's why I love shutter speed so much, and how shutter speed can tell the story of motion, or can freeze motion, blur motion. Like, I just love it. That's why I'm a Milky Way photographer. I
just finished a chapter in my class, recording about a half hour ago, but on that very thing. So,
because I mean, nobody understands Milky Way photographers, the best action photographers in the world, because you got to freeze the universe. And the universe is spinning.
It's going faster.
Thousands of miles an hour.
Faster than a Ferrari.
Yep,
faster. Than a toucan.
Way faster.
Faster than a
way
dog.
faster.
I love that.
You can freeze the universe. You got real power. All right. Well, we got to give away these prizes. So we've got the V flat. The V flat's going to Claudia Balsadera. I'm going to say that. Probably butchered your name. But Claudius, you're getting the V flat. Jim Kravinsky is getting the Retouch for Me. Diane Lee, like we were talking about, is getting the Kaylee's Doctography book. She's getting the ebook. And then Stephen R. Lang is getting the Slick Pick membership. And then Denny is getting the On One No Noise. And then Betsy from Mass is getting Scott's Crush the Composition book.
Cool.
She's actually going to get a print version of that.
Are we giving away any Michelin stars on this
I know, come
episode?
on, one for
I don't
everyone.
know, but we learned on this show that everybody can call themselves a Michelin
I just say
star
put it on your
photographer.
website at the bottom.
That's right. I'm a Michelin star photographer.
I'm going to put that on.
Check. No one's checking.
I'm going to update my website today.
Same.
That's right.
Michelin star.
Michelin star. Question is, how many do you give yourself?
Email us over at gridprize@kelby1.com if you won. We'll verify information and then send you your prize. Just make sure to do that by this Friday, please. The people in the shipping really appreciate that if you do it. So, all right,
Cool.
Awesome. Well, that was a great show. We went way over.
It's so fun.
But that's
it's so
usually
exciting.
what we do, because we have no network to report to.
I know, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So just
it is
the
nice
boss
to not
of
have to
yourself.
report to the network.
Boss of yourself.
It's the new age where you can do whatever. You don't have a network.
Exactly right.
It's a new age.
Freedom.
All right.
I love it. Thanks again for having me.
Everybody.
I'm so grateful to get to share the
Thanks for coming. We
the
appreciate you
message
guys
of
coming
dogs.
in.
Sit next to
Thanks
this guy, the
everybody for
legend. Sit
coming
next
by.
to this guy, the Milky Way guy who shoots action shots faster than anyone else on the planet.
Faster than everybody on the planet. There you go. See you guys next week.
Stage with me.
Oh, of course.